Hi everyone! So these are the journal covers that I've done for this assignment. I decided to do this one with the identity-based theme, so all of them kind of have motifs of stars. This one specifically is supposed to be the sun. It's based off of a setting idea that I have for a story that I've been kind of coming up with for a few years. So this kind of image for the setting and background has been in my head for a while, and I've never really gotten the chance to put it down on paper. I also enjoy when artists use kind of atypical color schemes. When you think of the sun right here, blue and pink aren't really the first colors that come to mind. Usually it's like orange or yellow, but I really love it when people kind of do it in different colors, and in the context of the story maybe it'll be a little more obvious that this is the sun. But yeah, I used acrylic paints for this one mostly. For the sun, really close up this background here, I used watercolor paints, and I also used watercolor paints down here before I went in with acrylic paint mixed with like a dark purple. And there's a little bit of texture here that you can feel. I tried to do this one kind of in impasto style, so all of the paint in certain areas is a little bit raised. Especially with these clouds, I ended up mixing it with the heavy gel medium. In the demo video, I thought it was really cool, the idea of like using the gel medium to create raised brush strokes, and I've never done that before, so this is just something that I wanted to do here, and that was a lot of fun. It's something that I'd like to improve on in the future. You can see there's some pattern going on with the kind of cage around the sun coming from this point. It continued into the background as well. I almost wish that I had continued this lattice pattern over these orange clouds in the background, because I think that element gets a little lost, and I think it would have looked better compositionally if I had brought those over just one layer and pushed these orange and pink clouds to the back. And I also used these kind of like rain visual strokes with a palette knife, and that was interesting. Hope it came across balanced visually. I also tried to make this kind of in the silhouette of a person, very loosely. You've got the quite a long neck and the head and the shoulders, and this could maybe be seen as a crown if you were thinking about that. But that is my first one. My second one, I used more strategies from the demo video. I printed out this clip art and cut it out with an X-Acto knife, and I have some layering going on here. So I have this light bulb kind of like going in with my light star theme. In my discussion for the identity themes, I mentioned Like a Star by Mike Kroll was a particularly inspiring thing for this subject, so I have some lyrics from that song here. I have a description of a supernova right there, and then I just have some cut out 4 pointed stars. Tried to arrange them in a very balanced way. And I've got 2 of them, got 3 big stars, 2 little ones, and the light bulb here. So kind of just like not quite rule of 3, I would say. But that's kind of what I had in mind when I was doing it. Kind of like 3 up here, 3 down here, with the quotes over there. And also just like, I don't know, limited color scheme. I've got the yellows and the black that kind of printed out as a dark purple because I was running out of ink. On to my third one, I did something similar. This one's also watercolors with the clip art. These roses took me quite a bit of time just because using an X-Acto knife on stems so thin can be very challenging, but I'm glad that it kind of came across. I think they look neat, especially because some of these pieces broke off and I had to kind of reattach them on the paper. This one was inspired by a tattoo idea that I wanted to get for a long time. This is like the star that I want on my chest, and then some roses along my collarbones onto the shoulder. And that's also something that I've always wanted to depict for a long time, and I've just never gotten the chance to. This one's just pure black and white with the color coming from the watercolor. And you've got another quote tying in the star theme, along with just like, you know, the tattoo is a star itself. So that's that one. And then for my last one, I've got this guy right here. So this one I did on the idea of scrutiny. That's the kind of word that I've had in mind the whole time that I was making this. You can see I've got some hands holding the moon. I tried to kind of blend them into the background to not make them totally jarring. And some eyeballs looking at the moon, who they're looking at with like a lot of judgment and scorn. I tried to get across. I didn't want the eyes to be super realistic. I just wanted them to be kind of unnerving. So the idea behind this one is that I really wanted to depict something like being judged that normally, like, everyone kind of knows that the moon is a beautiful object. That's the opinion most people have. It's like naturally regarded as pretty. And the reason I chose the moon for this one is because while everyone knows that the moon is kind of pretty, it doesn't really capture well on camera unless you have a really expensive one. So that's kind of why I decided to, I don't know, you could view the moon as something ugly or blurry or not as pretty as other things if you were looking at it through a very specific lens. So this is someone judging the moon under the assumption that it's not very great, but you would know through a particular view set that the moon is something that's very pretty. So I've got my landscape in the back here. I also, I didn't want to draw a whole person because I really wanted the landscape to come across. So I just drew the hands mostly for the body. And then if you look kind of closely, I have some land trying to morph into the head shape. I think I could have done a little bit of a better job with that, but there's some elements here that kind of build the shape of the head. This one I also had in mind to use a analogous color scheme, like a blue, green, and yellow. I don't think that that's like on most color wheels a true analogous color scheme. I think that yellow is just a little too far from blue and green with like the in-between shades. But that's what I had in mind while I was doing it. Got some stars reflected on the water and the moon reflected here. These drops of white acrylic paint were just some goofs from painting the white background of this one. It kind of crossed over into there, so maybe I can fix that later. But that's kind of just what I have for this one. I really like this one in particular. I'm very proud of how this one came out. For techniques, we got white paint on the back of this one, the pattern, texture. Of course, I used the card to kind of smooth out the gel medium. And the watercolor at the end. I also tried using a wet paper towel to smooth out the color because I ran out of baby wipes. That's what I've got. I'm excited to see everyone else's. Bye-bye.